राधा कृष्ण को गोपना शाम कुंड राधा कुंड की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवदीप धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, द्वारका धाम की जय, स्वामी भक्तवृंद की जय, और ग्लोरी टू द और ग्लोरी टू द थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to some Vaishnava devotees. Dear devotees, we thank you all for being here. So, we're going to begin. We're going to put the verse on the screen, and then we may start. Hare Krishna. Thank you as always. Om Jnana Timrandasya, Jnana Jnana Shalakaya, Chakshavad Manitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vanchakalpataribhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Ashtadatmane Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschita Rishatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Guru Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, the text for today is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, text number 5. Pula Kotipina Sarvango Monchan Milad Trisha Shujaha Purnarto Lakshita Stena Sneha Prashara Samplutaha. Pula Kotpina Sarvango Monchan Milad Trisha Shujaha Purnarto Lakshita Stena Sneha Prashara Samplutaha. Pula Kutbina Sarvango Monchan Milad Drisha Shujaha Purnarto Lakshita Stena Sneha Prashara Samplutaha. Excuse me. Synonyms: Pulaka Udbina, bodily changes of transcendental ecstasy. Sarva Angaha, every part of the body. Munchan, smearing, Milat opening, Drisha by the eyes, Shuchaha tears of grief, Purna Arthaha complete achievement, Lakshitaha thus observed, Tena by Vidura, Sneha Prasara extensive love, Samplutaha thoroughly assimilated. Translation and purport by Jagat Guru Param Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada's translation. It was so observed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidura could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. Purport. The symptoms of the highest order of devotional life were observed by Vidura, an experienced devotee of the Lord, and he confirmed Uddhava's perfectional state of love of Godhead. Ecstatic bodily changes are manifested from the spiritual plane and are not artificial expressions developed by practice. There are 3 different stages of development in devotional life. The first stage is that of following the regulative principles prescribed in the codes of devotional service. The second stage is that of assimilation and realization of the steady condition of devotional service. And the last stage is that of ecstasy symptomized by transcendental bodily expression. The 9 different modes of devotional service, such as hearing, chanting, and remembering, are the beginning of the process. By a regular hearing of the glories and pastimes of the Lord, the impurities in the student's heart begin to be washed off. The more one is cleansed of impurities, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. Gradually, the activities take the forms of steadiness, firm faith, taste, realization, and assimilation, one after another. These different stages of gradual development increase love of God to the highest stage, and in the highest stage, there are still more symptoms such as affection, anger, and attachment, gradually rising in exceptional cases to the Mahabhava state, which is generally not possible for the living entities. All these were manifested by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the personification of love of God. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, the chief disciple of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these transcendental symptoms displayed by pure devotees like Uddhava are systematically described. We have written a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu entitled The Nectar of Devotion, and one may consult this book for more detailed information on the science of devotional service. Ajana Timrandasya, Jana Shalakaya, Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadanti Kam. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll take the verse again. It was so observed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidura could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. Hare Krishna and welcome to you all devotees, as always. Srila Prabhupada, Param Jagat Guru, is helping us understand that love of God is the ultimate quest for all living entities. And it is a science. It is scientific. So if something is a science, that means that there is a theory that has been purported by the experts. And this theory can be experimented. And when you experiment the theory, the conclusion that is mentioned or described in the theory must be experienced or must be materialized. So we have these different stages of things that make things to be scientific. We all understand, we all know that we are all embodied by love. We all want to love somebody or love something. And we all want to be loved by somebody or by something. Because that is our composition, that is our makeup. Our makeup is that of love. And the reason why our makeup is love is because we are created in the image and in the likeness of God. And God is the embodiment of love. God is the source of love. And that is why anytime anyone claims to have love for anybody or anything, if that love is minus God, it is not a factual love. It is not a true love. It is a shadow of love. And because it is a shadow of love, it will not last. And so here we are reading about two experienced devotees. One is a Vidura, who is uh, watching Udava and seeing the symptoms of love of God in this individual. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that love of God is real. It is not something somebody can just concoct. And it is also something that is not artificial. One cannot claim that he has love of Godhead and demonstrate these different symptoms that Uddhava demonstrated. What are some of the symptoms of love of Godhead that Uddhava demonstrated in the presence of Vidur? As we can recall in the previous two texts as we read, Vidur met Uddhava, greeted him, showed him respect, and he asked him of Krishna. And because he asked him of Krishna and the Yadavas, because of so much intense love that Uddhava has for Krishna, he was reminded of that intense love that he has for Krishna. And for a moment, he became dumb. He could not speak out of so much affection for the Supreme Lord Krishna. Uddhava could not speak. He kind of froze. And as he could not open his mouth to say a word, his eyes became filled with tears of love. Now, some of us, if not all of us, trying to practice spiritual life, trying to serve the Lord in devotion, would certainly like to get to this point where and when, anytime we remember Krishna and his pastimes, all we can do is to just shed tears. Now, as beautiful, as wonderful as this could be, one cannot fake it. We cannot fake this. One may pretend to cry upon hearing the names of Krishna, upon hearing the pastimes of Krishna. And so somebody sitting somewhere may say, this person has developed so much love of Godhead. I remember some time ago we had a festival in Gitanagari, and there was one Srila Prabhupada disciple. So he was sharing some pastimes about Srila Krishna about Srila Prabhupada with us. Those of us who are not direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And almost every single pastime he was narrating was so beautiful. And they're like pastimes we had never read, we had never heard from anybody else before. And he was sharing them with us. And we were all enjoying the pastimes. But we realized that each time he shared a particular pastime, his eyes will be filled with tears. And so, being a devotee and understanding that we are also devotees or trying to be devotees, he shared with us right away, says, Prabhujis, please do not think that I'm very much advanced, that I am shedding tears while I'm sharing these pastimes with you. But the fact remains that I have some sort of eye infection. which is making me shed tears uncontrollably. So this devotee was very sincere with us. And those of us who were not very experienced were thinking that this devotee has attained so much love of Godhead. Each time he talks about Srila Prabhupada, he sheds tears. So Srila Prabhupada explains to us how we can truly identify who has attained the love of Godhead, demonstrating these symptoms of Godhead. Again, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that if one wants to systematically study to understand the real symptoms of love of Godhead, ecstasy of love of Godhead, which is Chaitanya Prema or Krishna Prema, one should study Srila Rupa Goswami's book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Srila Prabhupada has graciously summarized for us to read, study, and hopefully understand the different parts, the different stages of devotional service, and how the symptoms of love of Godhead can be demonstrated or symptomized by one who has attained it. So Srila Prabhupada refers in the purport that there are three different stages of development in devotional service. Three different stages. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that the first stage is that of following the regulative principles prescribed in the codes of devotional service, which most of us are actually on. Most of us are very much keen and particularly interested in following the regulative principles. No meat, fish, egg eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. These regulative principles we try to follow as much as we possibly can. That is not just the only principles we follow. We also follow, especially if one is living in a temple, the principles of living in a temple. You wake up early, you take shower, you chant your rounds, you attend Mangarati, you do Guru Puja, you do deity greetings, you do Bhagavatam classes, you do some seva in the temple to serve Guru and Krishna. You keep Krishna's temple neat and clean, and then you go out to preach, or you have to go to till the land. Whatever service one may be assigned to be performing. We were discussing this topic, I think, a day or two ago, when His Grace Srivas Vanachari spoke. And actually, I think that was when His Grace Ganga Prashad spoke. So we're all talking about the different stages of life, how one, as a devotee, is willing to serve the Lord under all circumstances. So there are different stages, as we learned. And then the second stage, as expressed in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, is that one assimilates and realizes the steady condition of devotional service. No. One assimilates, one absorbs, and then from such absorption, there will also come the realization that one's condition in rendering service to Sri Krishna is steady. It is said that one of the symptoms of pure devotional service is that there is no interruption. Nothing can interrupt our service to Guru and Krishna. Like His Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu expressed, no interruption in one's devotional service is not only or solely applicable to physicals, to what we see with our physical eyes. Like we see somebody doing japa, putting his hand in the japa beads and doing japa. That is the physical. We may not see somebody putting his hand in the japa bead doing japa, but he may be doing japa. Because there are different categories of japa. However, we understand that the recommended process is for one to put his hand in his japa beads and chant. Call out the names of the Lord as given by Lord Chaitanya himself and spread around the world by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And one focuses his mind and attention on the holy names of the Lord and the pastimes of the Lord and His pure devotees, and trying to taste the sweetness of the holy names of the Lord. One does these things, but sometimes there may come a point in time that one may not be able to put his hand in his japa bead and do the japa. But one may chant the holy names of the Lord so audibly for himself to hear, for others to hear, without putting his hand in the japa bead. If someone has a problem with a hand that he is unable to touch and hold on to his bead and roll his beads in between the forefinger and the thumb to do japa, does that mean that you cease to do japa? No. I very well remember a pastime shared with me by His Holiness Bhaktidhira Damodara Maharaj some time ago, that in the early stages of devotional life in West Africa, because lots of people did not understand who devotees are, lots of devotees who had gone out on Sankirtan were all arrested because they thought that they were spies, CIA spies from US. And so when they were arrested and put behind cells, they did not have access to their japa beads. And so Maharaj shared this with me, that he was chanting. And how did he chant without his beads? He used his fingers. Like Brahmanas use their fingers to do their Gayatri mantra. That is how Maharaj was chanting his japa. So yes, the process of chanting japa on our beads has been given, but sometimes physically that may not be there. But the japa cannot cease because there is no japa beads. So Maharaj shared this with me, which is very interesting in this particular regard of different stages of devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada again in the purport shares that there is a third stage, which is ecstasy of Godhead, and it is symptomized by bodily changes and bodily expressions. Now, we as human beings, we know that when we're talking to somebody and we get very excited, we laugh. And sometimes out of such laughter, we tear up, we shed tears. And sometimes, depending on the situation, we shed tears also. But we shed tears out of sadness. when we lose a very loved one, a dear one, there is a symptom on the physical body of the individual to know that this person is feeling so much sorrow. Of course, it requires one who is experienced to know whether this person's expression of sadness, of sorrow, is real or unreal. For example, there are professional mourners. They are trained to mourn, so they cry. They do everything as if they are really sad or sorrowful of the passing of that particular individual they're mourning for. But they are just trained. So if someone is experienced, that person will know that these people mourning are actually not mourning because they are sad about the passing of this individual. It requires one who is experienced. So those of us who may not be experienced topmost devotees, some people may cheat us by demonstrating seemingly spiritual ecstatic symptoms of love of Godhead. But those who are very experienced can know whether these symptoms I'm seeing in this particular person is real or unreal. And Srila Prabhupada helps us to understand whether these symptoms we're seeing in this person are real or unreal. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about it. Srila Prabhupada says that when one is demonstrating such ecstatic symptoms of love of Godhead, then we should go back to find out whether this person has developed these different stages, which come in a very gradual form, the different stages of God realization. Because before one develops these symptoms of love of Godhead in his physical body, he should have had steadiness, firm faith, taste, realization, and assimilation of devotional service. If one has not developed steadiness, steadiness here means that one is very steady to hearing about God and his pure devotees. And from such hearing, one has developed so much firm faith that yes, Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. There is none equal to him, there is none greater than him. And from that strong, firm faith, one develops taste in constantly hearing about the pastimes of the Lord. It does not matter who is talking about the pastimes of the Lord. But as long as someone is sharing the pastimes of the Lord, one is keen to hear those pastimes. And because one is very keen to hearing the pastimes of the Lord, from the steadiness and the firm faith also comes the awareness, the realization, and the assimilation to decipher who is speaking the truth as a matter of love and affection of Sri Krishna, or those who are speaking about Krishna as a matter of theoretical and external demonstration of their love for God. But in actuality, they have no love for God. So one may develop this hearing aspect, which is the beginning of God realization, and with that may hear about the Supreme Lord from anybody. But with experience, this individual will come to know and have the taste of Krishna from one who is a sincere devotee of Krishna. If one is not sincere devotee of Krishna and shares about the pastimes of Krishna, yes, you listen to this individual, there is some love there, but there is no intense love because that person himself is not speaking out of love and therefore is not giving out love. He's just repeating. But if someone is repeating the words or the pastimes of the Lord, because he himself has the love of God in his heart, when he speaks, he also emits and reveals and exposes that same love of God in his heart with the recipient, and the recipient also receives that love of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada again expresses in the paper that it is a gradual process. It is a gradual process. And so when we read the Nectar of Devotion, which Srila Prabhupada referred us to studying, Srila Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Devotion that the beginning of Krishna consciousness and devotional service is hearing. That is also said in the Bible. Lord Jesus Christ actually taught his disciples and the world that love of God begins by hearing. Whatever we're doing today is as a result of hearing. So in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada makes mention of Garuda Purana. Srila Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Devotion that in the Garuda Purana, it is said that hearing is very paramount in the development of one's devotional service or Krishna consciousness. So it says that the state of conditional life in the Garuda Purana, Srila Prabhupada states this, that in the Garuda Purana, it is mentioned that the state of the conditioned soul is like that of someone who is unconscious. When one is unconscious, it means that he is not aware of his immediate environment. He's not conscious, he's not aware of his immediate environment. And therefore, because all conditioned souls are unconscious, we are not aware of our real purpose in this life. But Srila Prabhupada expresses in the Nectar of Devotion what Garuda Purana expresses, that all conditioned souls in this material world are unconscious. And why are they unconscious? Because all conditioned souls are unconscious because they've been bitten by a snake. And so, when someone is bitten by a snake, he does not die immediately. There's never been a history in human's life, any encounter in human life, where someone was bitten by a snake and he died immediately. You do not die immediately. You become unconscious. And after a while, you pass out, you die. So in the Garuda Purana, Garuda explains to the entire world the state of the conditioned souls. that they are unconscious, they are forgetful of their real identity because they've been bitten by the snake of Maya, illusion. And just as when someone is bitten by a snake, that individual can be revived by a mantra, in the same way, when one is bitten by the snake of Maya, of illusion, and is so much absorbed in materialism and has forgotten about Krishna, that person can be revived by a mantra. And that same mantra is what Srila Prabhupada has given us. Of course, it's Lord Chaitanya who originally gave to us, and Srila Prabhupada has spread it all over the world. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When someone is bitten by a snake and they chant the mantras, you do not revive the bitten person right away. It also takes time. And so Srila Prabhupada has told us that devotional life requires patience. And the more one chants the mantra, the more one gets purified. Our hearts get purified. And when our hearts get purified, our lost consciousness of our being, of our purpose in life, is now revealed. So this is the process. And the process is that we hear about the pastimes of the Lord, and we repeat, we chant the pastimes of the Lord, we chant the glorifications of the Lord, we render some service. These are the preparatory stages. So most of us are in the preparatory school of love of Godhead. But that does not mean that we have to give it up, because it is the very thing that is going to help us attain this love of Godhead. Now, why do we become so much unconscious of the reality of human life? Let me see if I can put this up here. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 29. I'm getting there. 29. Yes, chapter 29, and then text number 24. Let me put it up. This is chapter 29, and we'll go to text 24. Chapter 29 of Canto 4 is titled Talks Between Narada and King Prachinabhari. So let's go to text. Where is it? The 41. Yes, 41. So 4:29:41, it says, because the conditioned soul is always disturbed by the bodily necessities such as hunger and thirst, he has very little time to cultivate attachment to hearing the nectarian words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the problem. Because in order for the living entity, the jiva, the soul, to do anything at all, the basic necessities must be met. one must be healthy in his body in order to have a better concentration to doing something like japa. For example, if you are a father with a wife, with the children, and your children are hungry, and you're doing japa, how much concentration are you going to have in your japa? And what may be the mentality behind your japa? Probably we may be chanting, and at the back of our minds, we are asking Krishna for bread. There is nothing wrong in chanting japa and asking Krishna for bread. But we understand that that is not the purpose of chanting. The purpose of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or glorifying the holy names of the Lord, is just to please the Lord. There is a scientific explanation as to the relevance and importance of prayers. So the first and the most important aspect of prayer is that we adore, we glorify. And we see in the Vedic system, lots of the time, when someone is in a very, very critical situation, when this person is praying to the Supreme Lord for some intervention, they do not ask God for that particular help instantly. What do? They rather glorify God. They glorify Krishna. We all can remember when Uttara was being chased by the Brahmastra to destroy the fetus, the pregnancy. When she cried out to Krishna, she did not ask Krishna to protect the fetus right away. She started glorifying Krishna. And it was between time. It was like between life and death. Every single minute, every single second matters. It's between life and death. That if you miss a fraction of seconds, you're going to lose your life because the weapon is coming at you. And you're praying that this weapon be taken away. And so, in the ordinary sense, what every so-called intelligent person would do is instantly ask God, please take this away from me. But Uttara never prayed like that. Uttara started glorifying Krishna. You are the supreme personality of Godhead. There is none greater than you, there is none equal to you, and you give joy and glory to your devotees. Uttara was praying like that. And then she prayed, my Lord, I have come to you to protect the fetus. Personally, I do not care whether I get killed or not. But for the sake of the fetus, please protect the fetus. So, the most important aspect of praying is adoration, glorification. And when those of us who are not very much advanced, when we are very much burdened by bodily necessities and we're doing japa, we are not glorifying Krishna. We are chanting and at the same time asking Krishna to fulfill our material needs. Now that is also condemned, but we are encouraged to go a step further. Again, if I may put this verse up, 4:20. Let's go to Psalm 4, chapter 4, I think 4:22. Yeah, 4:22:24, I believe. I think so, 4:22:24. So let's do this. 4:22, 4:22:22, and then 24. So let's see. 4:22:24 says, a candidate for spiritual advancement must be nonviolent, must follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, must always remember the nectar of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, must follow the regulative principles without material desire, and while following the regulative principles, should not blaspheme others. And this is the keynote that I'm trying to dwell on. A devotee should lead a very simple life and not be disturbed by the duality of opposing elements. He should learn to tolerate them. So until a devotee begins to live a life of simplicity, like Srila Prabhupada gave us this motto, simple life, high thinking. There is a reason why Srila Prabhupada told us that we live a simple life while we think very highly. Because if one does not try to live a simple life, then one becomes very much concerned about how to get this, how to get that, how to get this, how to get that. And with so much effort to getting this, getting that, we lose the time and the love and the patience to serving the Supreme Lord. So when we try to live a very simple life, we only live as much as we need to have in life to keep body and soul together. That is enough. Lord Krishna expresses to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita what is the mood and the mentality of those of demoniac natures. What they do, what they say is that this whole world belongs to me. By my manipulation, by my machinations, I have gained so much, and I'm going to gain more. That person was my enemy, I've killed him. The other person is my enemy, I'm going to kill him. And my asset is going to grow. This is the demoniac mentality. That is what the demons do. Those who are demons will kill their fellow human being for something very insignificant. We hear in the news sometimes somebody killing somebody over like token money. $100. Somebody will kill somebody just to have $100. What can be more demonic like that than that? And so the more we as individuals begin to live a simple life and understanding that there is a higher purpose in life than eating, sleeping, mating, defending, we're not going to be able to attempt to serve God and likely realize God and to have these symptoms of love of Godhead. So, Srila Prabhupada has given us the systematic steps by which we can take to develop this love of Godhead. And when we do develop this love of Godhead, then we'll become happy, truly happy. 24/7 happiness. Because the essence of life is to be happy. And whatever one may take to attain this happiness, so many different people are taking so many processes, different paths, just to attain this happiness. But some people take the path to happiness that is very, very temporary. It's like some people, they work so hard, and so they need some energy. So they drink coffee, or they drink some energy drink, and they get energy boost. But soon after the energy boost, they crash, and they become miserable. And so we as devotees are very much fortunate, but we are only as fortunate as much as we utilize what has been given to us. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada reminds us and teaches us that in Krishna consciousness, utility is the principle. We can know so much. If we do not utilize what we know, that wouldn't help us much. Because the principle is utility, utilizing what has been given to us. And by utilizing what has been given to us, and because it is a science, even though it may take long, per our calculation, eventually the realization of love of Godhead will come, because it is a science. And this is the gift Srila Prabhupada has given to the world, and some of us are fortunate enough to have received this gift. And as long as we utilize this gift that has been given to us, we're going to be happy individuals. So with that, I'll end here and ask devotees to share realizations, and if they have comments, they may share. If they have questions, you may ask also. Hare Krishna, and thank you so much for being here as always. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, realizations? Oh, Thakur Murari Prabhu, please you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thanks for your presentation. Please accept my humble obeisances. All it goes to Srila Prabhupada. So I got in a bit late. Anyhow, I got some nice realization. So in terms of those symptoms, there's a pastime of Aridastaku. There was a snake charmer. So it was there, a number of people sort of, seeing him. So some other I think Aridas came and he was there and showed some symptoms. So this guy was there and he wanted some sort of fame. So started going a number of things, and then the snake charmer just started to beat him, and people was wondering, saying, "Wow!" But he knew that the snake charmer knew Aridas Thakur's his potency, and also knew that the other guy was sort of trying to get some fame too. So he started beating with his stick, so he ran away. I was like, why? So so we have to be careful of pretense, but they will come naturally. We just have to do our save and our song and whatever, faithful, and it will come. So thanks again for your presentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for sharing that pastime, which is a very vivid and crude example. You see, we all know that diamond is very precious. It's a very precious gem. But if one is not very much experienced in identifying what a real diamond is, then one is likely going to be cheated with broken glasses. So in other words, Srila Prabhupada is training us all to properly come to the level of understanding what is reality, what is true Krishna consciousness. So, if someone is professing to be a very elevated devotee, we can tell whether this person is actually a true devotee or not. Of course, as devotees, we do not sit back and begin to judge people. Oh, this is a real devotee. That is not real devotee. This is real. We don't do that. That is not our job. But if someone is very much experienced through practice of devotional service, then when someone is faking to be a very wonderful devotee and showing some symptoms of love of Godhead, then we can tell. And in fact, the Nectar of Devotion that Srila Prabhupada made reference to, if we go to Nectar of Devotion chapter 27, it tells us about the symptoms of ecstatic love. And it talks about there are different categories of ecstatic love and different symptoms. See, there are levels. The other time His Grace Srivas Vanacharya spoke, he was making a reference to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, written by Sanatana Goswami, that describes different levels of love of Godhead. Sanatana Goswami groups the level of Godhead into 4 categories. So here, Srila Prabhupada states that the bodily symptoms manifested by a devotee in expressing ecstatic love for Krishna are called anubhava. Practical examples of anubhava are as follows: dancing. So we have one devotee called Vakrishwara Pandit during the Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Vakrishwara Pandit, it said that could dance 72 hours non-stop. And of course, we all know that no ordinary human being can do that. Dancing means that you're happy. If you dance, it means you're happy. If you're sad, you're not dancing. So Vakrishwara Pandit danced 72 hours non-stop. And from his ecstatic dance, Devanand was saved by Lord Chaitanya, and then rolling on the ground. His Holiness Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj has shared with some of us a couple times, if not more than a couple times, that in a true transcendental ecstasy of Godhead, one cannot just control himself, one just rolls. And so Harichakra Prabhu has one particular dance that Gurudev has actually made a reference to that type of dance, that sometimes that is how the gopis dance. I do not know how Harichakra Prabhu knew that and dances like that, but Gurudev mentioned that the gopis, sometimes out of ecstatic love, they just roll on the ground like a tennis ball. Because of so much intense love, they cannot just stand. Their limbs become so feeble, transcendental feebleness, and they just roll. You know how sometimes someone gets so sorrowful and they break down and then they roll on the ground and then they cry. The direct opposite is also a reality. Someone becomes so wonderfully ecstatic, lovingly, and they roll and then singing very loudly. Lord Chaitanya demonstrated that. Lord Chaitanya, when he will see blue sky, that reminds him of Krishna, and he shouts and screams and chases after the cloud, stretching the body, crying loudly, yawning, breathing very heavily, neglecting the presence of others, drooling, laughing like a madman. Lord Chaitanya demonstrated all these things, wheeling the head and belching. Wheeling the head, practically we all see with Srila Prabhupada. Lots of the time Srila Prabhupada would do japa or chant Jai Radha Madhava, and you see his head. No, wheeling the head. So these, and then Srila Prabhupada again explains here, says when there is an extraordinary excess of ecstatic love with all of these bodily symptoms manifested, one feels relieved transcendentally. And then he goes further, he says there are two different parts of these symptoms. One is called Sita, and the other is called Kshepana. And out of the two, Kshepana is very interesting. It says when there is yawning, the symptoms are called Sita, and when there is dancing, they are called Kshepana. So Kshepana is actually superior to Sita, but they are all ecstatic symptoms of love of Godhead. Now, if someone is demonstrating these symptoms, and that individual has not had steady faith, steady hearing, and steady rendering of service to Sri Guru and Krishna, these symptoms will not manifest. So we may not be experienced devotees, but the yardsticks are there for us to use to measure whether this person's demonstration of ecstatic symptoms are genuine or not. And like I said, we do not sit back and become judges whether this devotee's symptoms is genuine or not. But we are equipped with the knowledge to help us prevent people who will put on the garb of devotees just to cheat people. Hare Krishna, thank you for sharing that, Murari Prabhu. Anyone else with something to share? All right, thank you all devotees for giving us this wonderful association. The most important thing in spiritual life, we all know, is hearing. But it's more impactful when we hear in the assembly of devotees. And that is what Srila Prabhupada has created. Because I can read what I read on my own, the impact will not be the same as reading in the presence and in the assembly of devotees. Because as I'm seeing you, and you seeing me, I'm getting excited that I'm seeing devotees. You're also getting excited, you're seeing devotees. And we get excited hearing devotees speak. So with all this excitement, bringing them together, it becomes very much magnified. And that is how we grow in spiritual life. And somehow, Sri Guru and Krishna has arranged for us to have this opportunity to have this Sangha 5 days in a week, a minimum of 1 hour daily. It's very wonderful. So we thank you all, and we hope to see you all again tomorrow. Oh, Madhavan Prabhu, please. Sorry. Sorry. You may unmute Madhavan Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for taking the responsibility for today's lecture. I'm really happy about it and impressed also, and appreciated your effort so much. So today I have a lot of take home. The first, when you gave the quotation of Bhagavatam 4:29-41, which stated that because of the condition soul is always disturbed by the bodily necessities, such as the hunger and thirst. So, tell for the condition soul that they are very, very unfortunate. And maybe because of this, Jesus said that man shall not live by bread alone. So, ordinarily, we pursue material things, and this also creates a very impediment or hindrance to our spiritual development or devotional service. That's why I say a lot of people they are so busy to the extent that even coming to temple or even trying to engage in devotional service becomes very, very difficult. But from your explanation, you also stated that we should adopt a very simple life to minimize this necessity, and as such, create the opportunity for our spiritual development. So I quite appreciate it very well, so much. Then we also quoted another verse of Bhagavatam again, 4:22-24. We stated that the candidate for spiritual advancement must be non-violent. So, incidentally, today, I got a report from the temple that one devotee was threatening that he was going to beat another devotee who was even rather a senior devotee. So, this type of action or reaction to me was quite unexpected. So, but by referring us to this chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it makes my job very easy, because I'll just refer him to that text and let him read it. So he will assess himself and know his position. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much. No glory.
Hare Krishna, Madhavan Prabhu. Thank you so much as always. May Sri Guru and Krishna protect us all and shower his mercies upon us. I mean, we are all here by Guru Krishna's mercies. Otherwise, if we all look back, we are not qualified. We have no qualification to be who we are today. But for some reason, we are here. Particularly your humble self, and understand you are temple president. And like we were saying the other time, being a temple president, except one does not understand what it means, but it's a very difficult task. So we pray that the Lord helps you to serve him as favorably as you wish to. Thank you for your participation, especially in this particular Sangha every now and then. Almost every day you hear. Thank you so much. And your sharing is very beautiful. It's very much true. So with that, we go to Bhakta Hassan. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, your grace, praise, kind offense. My humble respect, obeisances, all glory to Guru Dev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, and all glories to the wonderful Assembly devotees. As usual, I'm late, but forgive me.
Well, they say better late than never, so don't worry.
I have this curious question I want to ask. It's about Srila Prabhupada. The first book I read when I started to follow Krishna consciousness was You Are Ever Well Wisher, because that is the book His Holiness Yadunanda Maharaj gave me and chanted Be Happy. And when I read this book, I become so emotional. The difficulties Srila Prabhupada went through, even in India, it got to the point that he was like a stranger in his own country. He was hit by a bull and nobody was there to help him. He suffered so much, even in India, before he came to America. So when he came here, he go through a lot of difficulties because for 1 year, he said he was alone and don't have even a better place to live. And I was listening to one of his lectures and he said that he went to the Yataduta office and go and ask them, when is the next going to India? And he decided, okay, I'll wait for another 2 months. I have 2 questions. This is the first one. So at this particular moment, what mood was Srila Prabhupada going through when he went to that office? Because he suffered so much to come to America and he wanted to complete the instruction of his spiritual master. So when he went to that office, when he wanted to go back, what was his mood? Is it because of the sufferness? Is it because of he was regret coming to America? I just want to know what was the mood. And I also listened to one of his lecture, and he was saying that he paid $40 and he have a telephone in his room, and he was very happy. But when the telephone came, he was so disturbed because 2 o'clock in the morning, his disciples will call him, Prabhupada, I want to know how you are doing. And he was so disturbed to extent that he told his disciple to take the telephone from his room. So we know how telephone is so distracted. At this particular moment, I myself can testify to that, because if your phone even is not working or something, you become so agitated and so disturbed. So if Prabhupada happened to be at this moment, what is he going to say about how to use our telephone? So this is my 2 questions I wanted to ask. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your beautiful 2 questions. If I may take the first one, no one can truly understand the mind of the pure devotee. No one can 100% understand the mood of the pure devotee. But we can have a little bit of understanding into the desire of the pure devotee. Yes, being a pure devotee, living in this material world, requires that the pure devotee also looks at his surrounding, looks at the conditions, and then act accordingly. I think your question and the answer, as I think about it, is very, very important for devotees to understand and try to live it. We live in this material world, and there are laws in this material world. Every country has its own laws. And so if I am a devotee and I travel to somewhere like Pakistan, they have their laws. And I go against their laws that it is not right in the eyes of Lord Chaitanya, in the eyes of Krishna. so I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do while I'm in Pakistan, then I'll be wrong. So there is this popular saying that you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. So Srila Prabhupada came to the West. What did he come to the West for? He came to the West to establish Krishna consciousness. And as much as he tried, there was no success. So he pondered, do I have to continue sitting here where there is nothing coming? There is nothing coming out of my effort. Or I have to go back. So these thoughts will come to you. The beautiful thing about the pure devotees of Krishna is that almost every single time they depend on Krishna. They do not on their own try to make things happen. The pure devotees are so powerful. In fact, even talking about the symptoms of ecstasy as demonstrated in the body of Mahabhagavats, they very seldomly demonstrate these symptoms, especially in public. How many times did Srila Prabhupada disciples see Srila Prabhupada demonstrating lots of these symptoms? Very seldomly, very rarely. He was feeling that he was not demonstrating it all the time. So as a devotee, we have to use our common sense to understand what is going on in that particular material time and what we need to do. We pray to Guru and Krishna to guide us what to do and how to do it. So Srila Prabhupada wanted to go back to India. That even motivated the Acharyas and Sri Krishna that this person, our devotee, is sad because he is unable to do the service we've given him to do. But he's willing to do it. So let's help him. And then the help comes through. If Srila Prabhupada had just come to the West, and as much as he was trying, nothing was happening, and he still didn't feel any sense of what is wrong, why this is not happening, and what do I need to do, then it becomes a script to say like, nonchalant. It's like you do not care. It's like you programmed. You do not even use your own intelligence to analyze what to do and how to do things. No. Like we heard one of our gurus has problem in Russia. As much as we all hate it that this has happened, we cannot also understate the fact that every country has their own rules. And what is the use of trying to fight a rule that you cannot win? Srila Prabhupada himself said that if you know there is infection in one particular place, why do you go there? It means you are a fool. Srila Prabhupada said that. So being a devotee does not mean that we are immune from social orders and social etiquettes. We have a better way of doing it. So yes, Srila Prabhupada had this feeling that things are not going the way I expected, so probably I may have to go back. So he kept going back, and in fact, the the seaport officers kept telling him that, Swamiji, every 2 weeks, every 1 month, you come in here asking, you want to go, but you never go. He says, yes, I'm thinking. So it is, see, we have to relate with Krishna as a person. So if our Father asks us to do something, and we're trying our best to do what our Father has asked us to do, and we're having difficulty, then we have to express to our Father, well, this thing you asked me to do, I've been trying, it's not working. So probably I just have to give it up and maybe you give me something else to do. And then when the Father sees that the Son has been trying, doing it, and it's not being successful, then the Father will intervene. So until we relate with Krishna on a personal platform, things are going to be very difficult for us to achieve. And then the second question about Srila Prabhupada. Can you remind me about the second question? My porous mind. Bata Hassan.
Yes, he was saying that he needed a telephone and
yes, okay, yeah, yes.
for $2, yeah,
yes,
and
I remember now. Yes, I've also read that. It says when he did not have telephone, he was always peaceful. Once he started having telephone, and he also liked it that he had a telephone, he could call and speak to people from distance. He liked it. Then it started giving him problems. So Srila Prabhupada said that he was asleep. Somebody called him 2 o'clock in the morning, asking him, Swamiji, how are you doing? He says, just look, somebody who calling me at this point, at this time, 2 o'clock, when I'm supposed to be asleep, asking me, what am I doing? So he wanted the telephone to be thrown out somewhere. So the lesson I think we can learn from that is that things are meant to be used. Okay? Things are meant to be used. We do not let the things use us. And practically myself also, sometimes I need to rest, I need to sleep, and I stupidly do not turn my phone off. And as soon as I try to close my eyes, a call comes in. And I realize that this person calling me is very important. It must be very important. So I take the call. And in this way, I deprive myself of sleep. So I've been trying to adopt this policy that before I go to sleep, I turn off my phone. And I ask my family, if anybody calls and asks for me, I'm asleep. So, yes, we should know when to use things in our favor. And if the things we are using in our favor is giving us trouble, then we get rid of it. So we may not, because of this present life, we may not be able to throw away our cell phones, but there are many ways we can control our cell phones. We can turn it off, we can turn it on vibrate, or we can put it like do not disturb. So there are many ways we can use our phone to our own advantage. But what I learned from that is that whatever, no matter how good, important it is, if it becomes the source of our problem, we have to learn how to get rid of it. If family life is becoming too difficult for us to practice devotional life, we get rid of it. If wealth is becoming too much problem for us to practice devotional life, we get rid of it. And so this comes to when Bhaktivedanta Maharaj taught us that we should pray whatever we need to get rid of in order to become pure devotees of the Lord. May the Lord do that. And like I said, I am unable to pray that way, but it is my desire that whatever would help me to become a serious servant of the Lord, may the Lord help me. But I'm not openly praying like that, because openly praying like that means that I'm ready for the consequences, and I'm not ready yet. But the desire is there. And hopefully someday I may be able to pray like that. So that is what I can share with your two wonderful questions. I hope you are satisfied, or devotees may want to add a word to what I shared. Otherwise, Her Grace Mitravinda Devi is here with her hand up. Mitravinda Devi, please, you may unmute.
Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you so much for the answers.
Okay.
But
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to know, like maybe if Prabhupada happened to be at this moment, what do you think instruction he will give concerning television? But I think your explanation has answered that. So thank you so much. Hare
Krishna. Some people,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mitravinda, yeah. Some people fly in planes from one country to another to chase the opposite sex. So should people fly? And some people get on the plane to travel from one country to another to preach Krishna consciousness. So we have to use things, and when the things are becoming a source of problem, then we learn to deal with the thing. Mitravinda Devi, please, yes, go ahead.
Hi, Bill. Thank you so much for your time and your efforts. And I think what I was hearing today, the way that you spoke, the information that was given, the references made to our acharyas and the pure devotees in a way that helps us definitely. Like, let's just do workshops, okay? A workshop, please. But what I want to reference is what you said. If family life is too difficult for devotional service, then we could give it up. I'm going to lightheartedly say that I believe that that's something easier for jivas and male bodies to do than for the mothers. And I say that from the perspective of it's very difficult when, like people say, let's do 50-50, I know that's not you, Prabhu, because you're an amazing husband and father. But there's this 50-50 mood in marriages and relationships between men and women these days. It's very highly spoken of. But a jiva in a male body cannot carry a baby half time. The mother's body can only do that. The father's body carries the soul. So his actions, prayers, and deeds manifest or call this soul. And then the mother's body has the task of growing the body around the soul. And I just wanted to say that because also it's very difficult to have toddlers around, and your hand is holding a baby, one hand's holding a baby, stirring a pot, and then changing diapers. And children, they come here helpless, and Krishna has designed it that way. So father goes out and works and brings in and protects and cares for. And when mother is at home, she is wholeheartedly, like with every aspect of her being, caring for this loving, for this beautiful like blob of juiciness. And so I'm going to say that it's quite difficult to chant when your hands are filled and completely occupied all day long. And generally, unless your mother's around or your auntie's around, a mother's mind cannot rest unless she knows where her child is in a safe way. It's not the optimal time to do anything unless that's secured. So that's why I wanted to say that the statement that if devotional life is too difficult, if family life makes it too difficult to be devotional, then give it up. I not as a criticism, but I don't see, from my perspective as a mother of two, how that could even apply. I could never, not stop breastfeeding my children to serve Krishna, because children are service, and the family is a duty in service to Krishna when they are devotees. And optimally, we're supposed to have compassion for every being. So once that threshold of vivaha is crossed, then I don't know how that applies and does not jump into the realm of aparad. You give up one service for another service, but the service to Krishna manifests in different ways. So I wanted to throw that out there as, a thought on how that works or has worked in our ISKCON society, where people leave their families because it's too difficult or what have you. And then they are to leave their families to serve Krishna. Well, service to your family is service to Krishna, just as a mother doesn't throw her baby out of the window because she can't do her 16 rounds. So the child is a gift from Krishna. The wife is a gift from Krishna. The husband is a gift from Krishna. And in the best case, we have to cover each other when we're weak. We have to cover each other when we're sick. We have to cover each other when we don't have anything left to give. And then, in doing that, Krishna gives us strength to go on and do the necessary. So I just wanted to throw that out there from a jiva in a female body who's attempting to one day become a devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, my dearest sister, Hare Grace Mitravinda Devi. Thank you so much for what you just shared with us all. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, that when someone speaks, he speaks in big chunks. And then when it is question time, the questions help the chunky messages get dissected into smaller pieces for easier assimilation and absorption. And when we are able to assimilate and absorb what has been put into our system, then we get the proper nutrients and we grow. So yes, one may want a flower, a rose flower. Some of us only know rose from the flower market. We do not know how the rose flower grows. But a rose flower is very fragrant and is very beautiful. And it's so beautiful to touch. The feeling, the suppleness, the softness, just by touching it, melts your heart. But most of us may not know how it grows. It grows on a thorny stem of plant. And even though the rose flower is what we are aiming at, that is what we are aiming for, if we do not take care of the thorns, we might not be able to get the rose. And so, yes, our whole goal is devotional service. But if we do not take care, if we do not first of all take care of our immediate needs, then devotional service is going to be very difficult to attain. As we were saying, there are different levels of Krishna consciousness or devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada says, in the quest of performing devotional service, one should not jump. One should go systematically. One should go steadily. Queen Kunti prayed to Lord Krishna that may Krishna disconnect her association with her families. Now, can you imagine Mother Kunti praying to Krishna that I do not want to have anything to do with my children, the Pandavas? Who wouldn't want to like to have association with the Pandavas? But she realized that her attention on the Pandavas were getting much more into her than her attention and love for Krishna. So she spoke that way. When Mother Kunti speaks this way, it does not mean that she does not need or she does not want the families anymore. But it's an expression that I have this attachment. I love them, but I love you more. Please help me. Now, if one sincerely claims to love God, just like Lord Jesus Christ says in the Bible, how can anyone claim that he loves God whom he has not seen when he does not love his fellow brother who stands next to him? So if we have our own family, the scriptures, every scripture in the world says that a husband and wife become one flesh. So who doesn't like his own flesh? And Srila Prabhupada, in presenting Krishna consciousness to the world till time indefinite, has told us as a matter of urgency in chronological order, the most important thing for every devotee is his health. It's not your japa. It's not going on the altar. It's not anything. Your health is the most important thing. Because if you have good health, then you will be able to do all the other things you need to do. If I do not have this body, how am I going to serve? There are other souls in different bodies, not in human bodies. How are they going to be able to use that body to serve Krishna properly? In this material world, it's impossible. So, for us as devotees, we know that we want to serve Krishna, and whatever will become an impediment, no matter what it is, we pray to Krishna that please take it away. And that could be anything. But at the same time, we should also understand that that does not mean that we minimize the very things that we use to serve Krishna. If I say my japa beads may become an obstruction to serving Krishna, so may Krishna take away my japa beads, what am I telling Krishna? So the essence is that ultimately, we do not want anything to be more endearing to us than Krishna. But at the same time, everything else we understand is part and parcel of Krishna, so we make very good use of everything that has been allotted to us, more especially husbands and families, children. If the father and the mother do not serve each other and see the children as properties of Krishna that have been given to them to cultivate, then how are they going to live together and serve Krishna? What is right before us, we cannot take care of, but we want to go and take care of something that is very far away from us. Like I say, sometimes you may have a leader who has a project in his own home. He will not take care of the project in his own home, but he's eager to take on another project in a different, distant place. To me, that is not something to be really applauded. Because if we are unable to take care of our own, how dare us go out to take care of others? So Srila Prabhupada says that he has written these books for the world to read, but primarily Srila Prabhupada wrote these books for the devotees. Sometimes devotees will distribute these books without reading them to understand what is in the books. But if we ourselves study the books and understand what is said in the books, and we really appreciate, with that intense appreciation, we go out there and also want to share with others. But because we don't study, we don't know exactly what is in the book, we don't really know the value, we go out there simply because we are asked to go there. But we should understand why we are asked to go there. And we ourselves should be tasting it. And when we taste it, and we love it, and we enjoy it, and we are, excuse me to say, intelligent enough, then when we have something good, we would like to share it with others. So yes, I said that, but it is not so likely that I say that I love Krishna so much, so I don't care about my children. They can go to hell. I'm going to serve Krishna. That would be very, very wrong. And it does not send a very good message and image of our movement, because that is not what our movement stands for. Our movement stands for loving people, loving community, and using commodity. We don't love commodities and hate communities. Hare Krishna. Thank you for helping us try to dissect the chunky statements we made, and hopefully it might be smaller portions enough for us to assimilate and absorb.
You are brilliant, Sahadev Prabhu. You are spiritually brilliant and shiny, and your efforts to shift and help us understand are truly amazing and such a wonderful service. I really do appreciate you and your family very much. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you so much, my dearest sister, for giving me your blessings. Thank you. And equally, I love you to the moon and back. Maybe to Goloka, if I'm eligible to go to Goloka. Okay. His Grace Harichakra Prabhu, please you may mute. Probably this may be the last contribution. And then we'll bring this to a close. Shri Harichakra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My obeisances.
Thank you. Thanks. My obeisances to you, my obeisances to the Assemble devotees, and my obeisances to Guru and Krishna. Yeah, thank you very much for your discourse. The contribution I had wanted to give, you have already done justice to it. But all the same, I will say something small because I was going to contribute first to what Bata Hassan asked, the question about Srila Prabhupada. Most of the time, like one time, Srila Krishna Pad was giving a class, and he said that some people, when they hear about the word guru, they think the guru is
should act like some supernatural being. That if even he's in a car and the car is about to crash, the guru will just wave his hand and the car will jump over the truck. And he says that is the notion of a lot of people when they say guru. No, but guru always live his life according to what Krishna wants him to do. And the guru lives a normal life. Because if the guru doesn't live a normal life, how are we, those of us trying to emulate him, how are we going to be able to emulate him? And that is exactly what the average Christian says. Oh, for Jesus, he is special. He's the Son of God. We are just struggling beings. So what he did, we can never do. The guru doesn't act like that. The guru acts normal. So the way Prabhupada acted, then it becomes so normal that we as followers will know that when we are going through similar situations, then we can, oh, even Prabhupada went through it. So why can't we go through it? So it's like a way of how to make a headway in our devotional life. So thank you for your discourse. And the second aspect is Mr. Vinder's question. What I realize is that devotees, we always talk about taking care of Vaishnavas. That Sadhu Sangha is very important in our devotional life. Along with that, what we forget, always we don't remind ourselves that our family is the what do we call it? The beginning of Sadhu Sangha. And until we see our immediate family as the devotees of the Lord, and that we have to have serious and very good Sadhu Sangha with our own family, there is no way that we can even expand it somewhere. If our children and our family and we say we're going to practice devotional service, I don't think it works that way, because we have already missed the formula. And once you miss the formula, how can you solve the problem? So thank you. I know you touched on these things already. So thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for sharing that, my big brother. It's very interesting. In 2008, I very well remember, that was when we had a recession here in the US. And there was one economist. There were lots of economists coming on national television to preach to the public how to survive. And then there was one economist who used to frequent this TV channel station, CNN, which is a national TV. He was always offering advice, what to do, what not to do, where to go, how to do this, so at least you can stay afloat. And then after a while, CNN got to know that that particular economist was broke and he is struggling. He does not even have sufficient food to buy food to put on the table. So on the national television, they questioned him that you've been telling the public, do this, do that, but we just learned that you are broke, you have nothing. And he said, yeah. And that was the end of his life. He was crippled. He couldn't come on the television to speak anymore. So we go out there telling people how to love your children, how to love your community. And if they do not see us do it, that will not help much. Because we are all children before God. And as children, we learn best by what we see, not by what we hear. If we learned by what we hear, everybody will be a wise man. But generally, we learn by what we see. And so when people do not see what we are saying in our books, like His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj says, reminds us that we should understand that we are distributing our books and people are reading and are coming to know what we stand for. And if they do not see us live what we preach, we become laughing stock. So yes, we have to do the necessary. We have to first of all take care of our own home before we go out there. Like I was saying, I do not understand how a leader will have a project in his own home and will not care about the project, but very much interested in going outside somewhere, claiming that he's engaging in another project over there. When the same project you're engaging in outside, you have it at your own home and you're not taking care of it. No. So, thank you all devotees, and with that, we're going to humbly request the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation for their lordships and the parampara bringing us all together once again to hear about the glories of the Lord and his pure devotees. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Vancha Kalpa Ananta Kulti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.